Hi guys, it's Kingston here. Today we have with us one of the most sought after soundbar in the market currently. I must say the cheapest soundbar that I've found in the market that has good, if not the best quality. This is the Sony S20R soundbar, 400 watts. It has so many features that it's very rare to find in a low budget soundbar that's going for that price. That is around 185 USD. It's a 5.1 channel soundbar compared to the other soundbars we have from the other companies. Most of them at that budget, you won't find a 5.1 channel soundbar because they have 2.1, 3.1, but 5.1, the budget might be a bit higher than the one we have right over here. So let's get into the review of this Sony S20R. We see the benefits of it and the disadvantage of this particular soundbar. And just before that, don't forget to leave a like on this video as we get into the review, and don't forget to subscribe because I must assure you or promise you that even after watching this review, there are some other good soundbars, laptop reviews and television reviews on this particular channel, and even the ones that are coming will be much better and better than the one we are currently going to do on this one. So just don't forget to hit on that subscribe button. Otherwise, let's get into a review of our today's machine. Right in front of us is the typical Sony soundbar setup. We have the subwoofer, we have the main bar, and then we have those two surround speakers. So it's a 5.1 channel soundbar with 400 watts total output. We have the remote right over here. We'll get into that later, but just have a closer look at what we have with us today. Now, we have these two surround speakers. They are wired. We have the wires right over here. Sony really love wiring. It's very uncommon to come across a Sony soundbar that doesn't have wires. So you see here, we have the wires for the left surround speaker. We have another here, right surround speaker. We have the wires right there. And then for the bar, you see, still we have the wire for the bar. And let me just get this off here, so that we have a look at the bar. So this is how the bar looks like, and a closer look at the bar. The finish is very premium. We have the Sony branding right over here. We have the metallic wire mesh just to cover the speakers we have here, to protect them from any external damage or even pest damage. And right here we have one speaker. There's another one here at the center. There's another one here, just to make a total of 3 speakers on the bar, plus the 2 we have right over here to make them 5 for surround. And then we have the subwoofer. Inside this bar, there are some other hidden drivers for tweeter. You won't be able to see them clearly, but they are somewhere here, just to enhance the mid-range of the surround for the bar. And then the bar itself is around 76 meters, just 76 centimeters, close to a meter. It's not that long as compared to other soundbars. We have the thickness here is around 8 centimeters, not so thick. And then here, as common as in almost all soundbars, we have close to 6 centimeters in thickness. Remember, this is something that I've found to be universal in most of the soundbars, because these bars are expected to be placed underneath your TV stand or underneath your TV. They have this height so that they don't overlap the height of your TV legs or stands, and they won't be able to cover maybe where you have the sensor on your TV or where we have the logo written on TV. That's why they normally come with this thickness. That means the speakers we have here are not circle as the traditional ones or the ones that we have here, but they are somehow rectangular in shape. And this also helps the speakers to have a very good sound, directional sound towards you, and even the surround effect of the sound coming from this bar. There's nothing much on this other side. We have just the mounting ports or holes right here. These are the mounting ports. Here we have the ports for screws in case you need to do servicing on the bar. Right on top here we have the slot where the cables come out, and all the speakers that are inside this bar, each and every speaker, the right, center and the left one, they have the single wiring coming out from this point. These might be advantageous and disadvantages at the same time. It's disadvantageous because I have to deal with so many wires, but it's advantageous because it's easier to control the speakers and even know which one of them is not working. When the right one is not working, you'll definitely know from the wiring we have over here. You can test them one by one, and you don't need a technician to do that. Right on top here, we have the labeling for the bar, and you can see here it's Sony S20R, the model right here. There is nothing much left there, but those are the details that you need about the bar. Then we have these special rubbers here. They normally just help the bar to have proper grip on the table where, or on the stand where it's placed if it's not mounting. So they're equally crucial. As for the surround speakers, nothing much. You just have the rating for the surround speakers. You see the model is there, and then we have the impedance rating down here, 4 ohms. This is the surround left, and then this other one is labeled surround right. It's visible from here, surround right, so nothing much. They also have their own rubbers, so for proper grip where they're placed, so that even with vibration they won't be able to slide off easily. Let's have a look at the subwoofer. This is how the subwoofer is. We have a 6.5-inch driver enclosed with this grill here, and as usual, Sony normally love placing their ports or the breather holes in front of their subs. Then right over here we have the display board. See, this is where it displays. We have USB port here. On top here we have the controls. We have the power button. This is a touch surface. Let me just tap on the first one because of the power button. So if I tap on it like this, you see it's written please wait, so it's turning on. Here we have input source, we have Bluetooth mode, we have volume up and volume down. This whole interface has almost everything that you'll need for the control of this particular soundbar, because for power on you just tap on here, source you just tap on here, Bluetooth mode, volume up, volume down. So in case you misplace the remote, I think you are still able to do the basic operations on this particular soundbar. We have the Sony branding right over there as usual. We have some other interesting factors right here at the back of it. Remember, for most of the soundbars that we've reviewed, they normally have ports, a lot of things happening around the bar, but on the one we have right over here, on the bar it's just the speaker, nothing much. There's no motherboard there, there's nothing. But here on this Sony subwoofer, this is where we have everything else, the engine, everything, all the factors run through here. You see the power adapter goes in through here, and it's direct AC to 40 volts. It goes in through here, and we have the power supply, the motherboard, everything else in here. Right on top here you can see where we have the ports. We have the analog in for aux port, not so important nowadays. Then we have HDMI out port right here, TV ARC, very important, and then we have TV in optical port. So these are the most important ports nowadays. If you want to listen to sound coming from maybe your TV in the best quality possible without any loss of sound quality or anything, especially for Dolby Digital supported sound or Dolby Atmos supported sound, then HDMI and optical port are the best ones for you. For you to connect your soundbar to your television, just use this HDMI ARC port, but ensure your TV also has the HDMI ARC port for them to be compatible. For your TV, ensure it has the optical port for them to be compatible once again. Down here we have the connection ports for the speakers. All the speakers, remember each and every speaker has its own single cable running from this port to the speaker. So for you to connect the front speakers, you see here we have the front, right and left. You connect them through here. You just color match. If it's red, white, green, gray, and blue. Just color matching, and it's a very easy process to do. It's written here only for S20R speakers, and then here it's only for S20 speakers. So it means no other speakers can or are supposed to be plugged in through this part. Down here we only have the sticker for power ratings. You see the total power consumption of this is 40 watts. This is power consumption and not power, total power that you get from this bar. The consumption is only 440 watts, but the power output is 400 watts. Here we have the serial number, not so important. Then right down here we have the breather holes, just for ventilation, provide power ventilation. For the power supply, that is down here. Right on top here we have the motherboard, so you also have another ventilation here just for cooling of the motherboard. So nothing much. And then on the sides we have the screws in case servicing or maybe repairing is done. These are the screws that you need to deal with so that you access the internals of this particular soundbar. As for the dimensions of the bar, of the subwoofer, it's quite big. We have around 34 centimeters for the width right over here. The thickness is around 19 centimeters, and then the height of the subwoofer is 38 centimeters. So it's quite big. It's quite big. Therefore, you expect it to be louder or of good quality, because most of us, we normally believe the bigger the cabinet, the bigger the subwoofer, the driver, the better the sound quality of the system. So here we expect to have very good bass, even though the driver is quite small, 6.5 inch, not so big, but for that particular price tag, for that particular power, I think it's quite good. Now this is how the remote is. This is how it looks like. I really love this remote because in terms of functionalities, everything else is on this remote. We have power button, input mode, auto sound mode, just for it to operate on auto mode, to detect whatever function you're doing with the bar. If you're listening to a podcast, if you're listening to music, if you're watching a movie, it will just auto sound to ensure that you're getting the best sound quality from the bar. We have other functions like cinema mode, music mode, we have voice mode, night mode. Down here we have subwoofer control knobs, so you can be able to control the subwoofer levels. See, right now it's at 5. The maximum we have is, let me just drive it up. So you see the maximum subwoofer level is 12, and the minimum is, let me just drop it down. Yeah, so the minimum is 0. Mute icon, we have dim. This is just to control the display we have right over here, the dim functionality. So if I press on it like that, you see it's getting dark. Then you see now it's off, so you don't have the display. Then press on it again, now it's bright, so it's very visible. We also have enter button, the pause and play icon, volume. Okay, we have next, and so many more functions. And here we have the volume up and volume down button. The maximum volume we have right over here is see, the maximum is 100. I know there are some people maybe will love having that big margin in the volume range, because here it's up to 100. Some other bars, they have the maximum volume range maybe up to 35, and that does not mean those that have 35, they're not as loud as the one that have 100. They just decided to go with 100 so as you have a bigger margin when adjusting the volume. But it's disadvantages at time, because for you to get to 100, you have to long press so much on the volume up button to get up to the 100 volume. That's the maximum volume level we have with that. Having said all that, now I think it's time to get into our favorite part, the sound test, so that you get to have a listen at how good it sounds. Is it worth the price tag? Is it worth the power advantage that it has? So let's get right into the sound test of this particular soundbar. So our first sound test, we're going to perform the sound test with the subwoofer at its lowest. So you're just going to have a listen at the mids, but the volume is going to be at its maximum. So that is our first sound test. Now let's do this. Now on to our second sound test. Now let's put it at maximum subwoofer level, that is 12. Maximum subwoofer level, we have it at maximum. Now let's do the sound test. So get ready to gear up. That is on the count of 1, 2, 3, here we go. So you heard it on your own, how the Sony S20R sounds, the 400 watts. I don't know what you think about the sound quality, the mid levels, the subwoofer levels. Let me know in the comment section. And for those of you who already have the Sony S20R, let us know in the comment section what you think about this Sony S20R. I just forgot to tell you something about the surround speakers. Remember, they have very long wires here, and that facilitates the placement of the surround speakers right at the back of your sitting positions. The length of the wire is around 8 meters. That is quite long for you to be able to put them just behind you for that proper surround. And I think, having done the sound test, even though I did place the subwoofer down somewhere so that I get the difference in the bass level emanating from the subwoofer, I know it's a common practice. If you want to get as in that nice deeper bass from the subwoofer, personally I prefer placing it somewhere on the floor, just close to a corner, not exactly touching the walls, but close to a corner, so that you get to have deeper bass from the subwoofer. And then to have a good surround for this soundbar, it's good to place the surround speakers far away from the main bar, because the main bar is quite capable of providing that front firing or directional sound right in front of the television or viewing position. So it's good to have these like far away from each other so that you get to have that experience of virtual surround. And I think it's a good soundbar. For the price tag, it's good. I know maybe it might not be good sound quality wise, but for the price tag, it's good, and I think it's worth giving it a chance if you are low on a budget. Otherwise, we've come to the end of this particular review. I really appreciate your support. If you've watched this video to this point, don't forget to leave a like, because is it not worth it? And don't forget to subscribe to this account once again, because is it not worth it? So see you on the next one, special review like this one, budget soundbars, and even the high-end soundbars, so that when you get to that point where you're now about to make your decision, that decision won't let you down if you're a member of this channel. See you next time on the next upcoming video.